and talk to them. They're here for you to talk to. But Chanita has a bachelor's degree of arts and a degree in English from the Roosevelt University and a master's in business. She works at the Roosevelt University as an assistant director of paralegal studies. She regularly attends conferences and workshops to keep her litigation support and professional writing skills sharper. When not pursuing her academic and professional venture, she enjoys being involved in her church and her community. Remember that, church and community. Amen. And this is the person that if you would like, and she'll explain what she would do, if you would like some help in looking for a job or a resume service, she would. I would like her to come up and say a few words. Amen.
Hello. I'd like to say thank you again to the pastor and first lady. I'm honored to be standing before you. I don't think we have time for me to give my testimony, but I am still a work in progress. And if the Lord can do it for me, He certainly can do it for you. I've come a long way. But for God's grace and mercy, I don't know where I would be. So I'm humbly grateful to be here today. I have a small business. I do professional writing, resumes, cover letters, thank you letters. But I also do career coaching. So anyone that's been out of the field for a long time, they haven't worked in a long time, and they need help with coaching. I do mock interviewing, that kind of stuff. But today I'm going to give you a little bit of information about the industries that are hiring right now. There are specific industries in a recession that have increased hiring needs. I'm going to share those with you. And then I'm also going to give you some job hunting tips, and if anyone needs any assistance later on with resumes, I'll be sitting off to the side. And I can do your resume today. So
thank you so much.
So I first want to eliminate the myth that there are no jobs in a recession. That's definitely a myth. Again, there are specific industries that are hiring in a recession. And second of all, there's no recession in heaven. Amen? So one thing that I have learned in my research of the employment market is that it's really a time that people can start small businesses. In a recession, people usually do start their own businesses. And some people may say, well, where do I start? You usually start doing something that you really enjoy doing. I love writing, which is why I started a resume service. People may like walking dogs. They may like babysitting. They may like cleaning homes. They may like chauffeuring. I mean, it's a lot of different things that you can do. You may like cooking. You can start a catering service. So this is definitely the type of market that you can start your own businesses. And banks are giving out loans in this recession. But even if you didn't want to take that route, you can definitely do a lot of fundraising. You know, the old lemonade stand works. Sell some things out of your home that you don't use. You can go to churches and garage sales and sell clothes that you don't wear anymore, or shoes. So there's always a way to make money. So self-employment is something to keep in mind in a market like this. Something else, the senior market seems to be doing a lot of hiring. So nursing homes, the Social Security Administration, because of the health care reform, a lot of insurance agencies are hiring now. So that's another place that you can look into that's hiring right now. Places that sell orthopedic equipment and a lot of the vision centers. And I think this also has a lot to do with a lot of the baby boomers that are getting up in age. Their needs are changing, and so those companies are reaching out to customer service people at all levels. So you don't have to have any prior experience. You can start these positions at the entry level. Discount retailers in a market like this, a lot of consumers have stopped shopping at some of the higher end stores. Sales tax has gone up. I think it's about 6.25% now. So people are doing more shopping at a lot of the discount retailers like Walmart. Although I shop at these places all the time. Walmart, Target, Marshall, stores like that, they're reaching out for customer service professionals. So that's another place that you can start a job search. Education is another place that's reaching out. People usually in a recession go back to school. They go back and reinvent themselves. They call themselves waiting the market out, so they go and try and acquire or sharpen skills that they've already had. So it's not just teachers, secretaries, administrators, a lot of different positions that become available in schools at all levels. Community colleges as well as four-year universities. They are hiring, so that's another place to look. Unfortunately, because of the increase in crime, the law enforcement agencies are reaching out for help at the state level, at the county level, the city level, the federal level. Check these websites. You can even walk into some of these places. Chicago Police Department, Illinois State Police. A lot of these people have increased their hiring in a market like this. And for people that are interested in the legal profession, for people that are interested in the legal profession, whether you want to go to law school and become an attorney, or you want to be a paralegal, which is a lawyer's assistant, or a legal secretary, there are certain areas of the law that have increased their hiring as well. Unfortunately, people are losing their homes, as everyone knows, so the mortgage foreclosure industry has gone up, so a lot of those companies are hiring. Bankruptcy law, unfortunately, more people are filing bankruptcy. That's another area where people are hiring. And unfortunately, a lot of families are falling apart. So family law is another area that have increased their hiring needs. Also, immigration law. There's a new immigration law that went into effect about a year ago. So a lot of those agencies are looking for assistance, as well as employment law. People are suing their bosses, unfortunately. A lot of claims are becoming available. A lot of people are suing for unpaid overtime or discrimination. So that's another area where they're looking for people to hire. The government, they're always hiring. But I think that with the new Obama administration, they have increased their hiring even more. So you can always check websites for government agencies at all levels, city, county, federal, and they're looking for people at all levels. So you don't necessarily have to have a degree. You could have a high school diploma, you could have a GED, or you could just have what's called life experience. Sometimes they'll substitute life experience. So if you have acquired some of these skills on the job, or maybe even in your communities on a volunteer basis, you can certainly apply for these positions. And now that I've talked about where the jobs are, I just want to provide a few tips in terms of your job search strategy. Because one thing that I've learned in this profession is that you need a resume. You cannot apply for jobs in this economy without having a resume. And not just any resume. You really need one that's been edited and looked at by someone, because it's a marketing tool. And what that means is that that piece of paper represents you. So when you apply for these jobs, that's their first introduction to you. Before they get a chance to meet you, before they decide whether or not they want to call you in for an interview, they're looking at this piece of paper that represents you. So the resume is kind of your face. So you should have a well put together resume that you are able to distribute. Whether you go to job fairs or whether you know a family member or a friend that's possibly hiring, you should always have an updated resume on hand somewhere. And I usually suggest that people update their resume at least 2 times a year. So if you change jobs, or if you have more responsibility on your job, or you start volunteering maybe in your church or community, those are all things that you certainly can include on a resume. So you want to always make sure that whatever new skills you acquire, you always update your resume. And then the second thing is you want to make sure you have a really good job search strategy. Have a good strategy in place. You need to know who's hiring. And I just gave you an example of some industries that have increased their recruiting. And then you also want to make sure that in addition to your resume and you knowing who's hiring, that you know how you want to do your job search. I do not recommend relying on one thing. You want to network. You want to check companies' websites. People are still firm believers in going to these companies, introducing yourself and saying, I'm looking for a job in this industry or that industry, I have this experience, or I don't have any, and can you give me a chance? But always make sure that you have what I call your elevator speech. You should always be able to say why someone should hire you. It's not a good enough reason that you just want a job. Everyone wants a job. So you should make sure that you always have at least a 30-second speech put together of why I should hire you. If you've never worked or if you have been out of the working world for a while and you've been taking care of your children, that's